Hi, everyone. I am your host, Tommi Vincent, within Her Words podcast. And today we have joining us at the table the Lauren Clayborne. She is the Director of Community Relations with the Golden State Warriors.
The championship.
Oh,
Golden State Warriors.
My bad.
Okay, just
championship, like a series of championships.
Yes.
So, but you're a winner anyway.
That's true.
So that is not surprising that you would be a part of this team. But Lauren, in addition to that, you've done a lot of things in sports. So can you talk about that some and share with everyone, if you would, toot your own horn and give us your resume?
Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure, and I'm so excited because I feel like we do this every day. And so to do this here while we're sitting here within Her Words, it means a lot. So thank you for having me, first off. Just a little bit about me. So I've been in sports, which is crazy, for probably almost 20 years, even though I don't look like it. Thank you. But I started my career at Michigan State in athletics. So I worked in our corporate partnerships department there. And I knew that I wanted to kind of touch the community side of the world. But I really didn't know how to get there, and so I had some amazing mentors that kind of led the path there. But so I worked for Michigan State in athletics. I've also worked for the Detroit Pistons, the Detroit Lions, and now I'm here with the Golden State Warriors. And so it's been an amazing journey. It was so funny. I saw a picture of my first game at Michigan State as an intern, and it blew my mind just to see what, my thoughts then and kind of where I am now. And so it's been an amazing ride.
Mm-hmm. So why sports?
So I played sports. Oddly enough, I was the center in basketball. So I played the 5, which is so crazy because I'm, tall in my own right. But I played basketball. I ran track, and so I knew I wanted to work in sports in some shape or form. But I didn't know that this business side of sports existed. And so when I was a senior in high school, my athletic director said, "Hey, we would love for you to be our student assistant." And I would love to say that I knew that I wanted to work in sports and behind the scenes of sports. That was not me. I was not that responsible. But I really wanted to get out of class, which is why I took him up on his offer. And so once he kind of introduced me to the behind the scenes of sports, I knew I wanted to be in the space, but I knew I wasn't, getting ready to play professionally or anything like that. And so it's kind of the best of both worlds. So being able to use sports as a platform to do good and influence many, many people, that was kind of the goal.
Mm-hmm. So now I know how using your sports platform, how there's so much power in it to be able to do good in community.
Yeah.
I know that's really big to you. You and I have for several years now had the opportunity to work with the Vincent Country Safe Zone Activity Day activations, and we've been doing some amazing work there. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back, you on the back, because we've been making some significant impact in community. And at the Golden State Warriors, you are active not in only getting the guys engaged, but really bringing those partnerships in on where your focus of work will be. Why is that important to you?
Yeah, it's important because, one, to be able to use this platform to do good is a responsibility. It's not optional. It's something that we should take great pride in doing all the time. And because of the platform that we have, and I say this all the time, if our cities and our communities aren't better because we're in it, then we shouldn't be in that community. And so being able to use our platform to do good, yes, it's a responsibility, but I think it's also important to our partners. So we have so many corporate partners that are like, hey, we want to attach ourselves to the Warriors organization, or we want to attach ourselves to Safe Zone Activity Day. And the reason why they do it, because they see the mission and they see that it's a need for them to be responsible in that way. And so I think it's not only important, but it also helps elevate their brand. It helps elevate their mission, and it partners with that particular entity and allows them and their platform to be elevated as well.
Mm-hmm. So now you've done tons and tons of events.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory of impact that stands out where if you were just laying in a bed and it came to your mind, it would cause your heart to smile so big?
Yeah. There's a ton. And I feel like there's always like one moment of every event where I have to like walk away because I'm like tearing up because of the, whatever just happened in the event. But probably my favorite activation. So I'm a military kid. So my stepfather, he served 27 years in the Air Force. And so realizing the impact that he had on our family, I really feel like that kind of shaped my life and the work that I do, especially with the military. And so we hosted a military baby shower, and it was for individuals that were expecting while their loved ones were on deployment. And that probably is, top of the list, only because I think sometimes when people see the military individual and we love on the individuals that are serving, but not realizing that it's a family that's serving. So just as much as the person that is on the ground, it's their families that are serving with them. And so to be able to do that for those ladies that were expecting, it blew my mind. And I think it was unprecedented, right? Like most of the time we're like, oh, we're going to do this for the military servicemen, but we never acknowledge, the women that are serving with them. And so to be with them at a point in their lives, it was huge. And then our players and their spouses were able to be involved in that activation as well. So it was really, really special. Probably one of the top of the list.
So I know that your journey to where you are today, you've had some experiences that have stretched you, that have challenged you mentally. And there are a lot of women looking to get into sports or they're in the industry, but they've hit a wall of progress. What is something that you can share to them that would encourage them? Don't stop.
Yeah. Ooh, is there enough time? The first thing that that comes to mind is a lot can happen in 12 months. And I think so many times you're looking, at your current situation and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I don't know how it's going to move forward. I don't know how I'm going to press forward. And all of a sudden, 12 months later, you're in a completely different spot. So the beginning of 2020, where COVID was getting ready to happen, and literally our world was getting ready to shut down. I lived in Detroit. So I lived in Detroit, living my best life in Detroit. And there were certain positions and things like that I was like looking after. I was interviewing. I didn't know where the next opportunity was going to come. And by the end of the year, I had moved to San Francisco to work for the Warriors. So I would definitely say you just never know what will happen in 12 months. Because again, you could be in one city and you could be a completely different city across the country in 12 months. The second thing I would say is, when you're interviewing for positions and roles, like go into those interviews and roles like you are the subject matter expert for that. And I think in my interviews, I was kind of in a passive position of like, pick me, right? And I was coming out of these interviews not getting it. I'm like, man, I know I'm more than qualified, but my demeanor was saying that I didn't deserve to be in the room.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely say when you are interviewing for these positions or when you walk into a room, go in and own that space like you're supposed to be there, and it completely changes the way that people approach you as well. So I would say that's the second thing. And then the third thing I would say is I know that there's so many times where doors are closed in your face and you're like, I just remember it was one door I really wanted to go into, and I was like, this is it. I'm completely convinced that this is going to be the one. And I didn't get the role. And I was so devastated, right? And I just remember I was telling my friend, like, I'm just going to give up on my career in sports, right? And I'm so glad I didn't get that role because I didn't know what was ahead of me. And if I would have gotten that role, I would have never had the opportunity to do the things that I've been doing. And so I would definitely say those are my kind of like three nuggets. And I'm only saying that for personal experience. And those are the things I try to use as like a guide, even in my next steps. Even in the moments where I feel like I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where the next steps are going to be, I try to keep that as a guiding force as well.
Mm-hmm. In order to have that type of perspective, you have to be willing to do some self-reflection and take inventory of how you're moving through the process.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes you can be pursuing things, and when it doesn't happen, you immediately point to the individual on the other side that you believe they have the power to make the decision. I didn't get it as a result of them, and not really taking the time to reflect on how could I have shown up differently? Was there anything I could have done? Is there any areas in this process that I should be growing and developing so that my next opportunity to shoot my shot, that I am going to be prepared in a better way. Like using every opportunity in the process to develop you and to grow you. Even the no has the power to really get you prepared for the yes when it comes.
For sure. And I also feel like, when you're walking into the door, if it's the door that you're supposed to be in, the Lord's going to open the door. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter on your best day, you can't open the door if you're not supposed to go in that door. And so I think settling that in your spirit is like so important. And I think even in your moments where you're like, man, I just don't feel like the door is going to open, and I don't see when the door is going to open, it's so important for you to settle like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. And so I think that's so important. So I think that's definitely the thing that has settled with me in all of the obstacles and all of the no's, right? And it's hard. Yeah. Right? And sometimes when you're told no, you're like, are you sure, Lord? Like, because I noticed the door. Yeah. Right? And so I think when you're so confident, you think that that's supposed to be the one, but you've seen that photo where the little girl, she's like holding a teddy bear, and you're like, I want this teddy bear, and there's a guy in this photo that's holding a much bigger bear, and it's like, you can have this little one, but you don't know that I got this bigger bear behind me, and so I know it can be very challenging to accept that,
heartbreaking,
to hold, it can be devastating, right? Yeah. But I really believe that everybody can say the time that I waited, I got what I really needed and not the thing that I wanted, right? So
and I definitely hear that story more.
Yeah, for sure.
Where people recognize hindsight. Man, if I would have gotten that opportunity, it would have precluded me from getting the opportunity that really, where the blessing was for my life.
For sure.
Where now I'm thriving. Yeah. And then even in the place of thriving, sometimes that's seasonal. Yeah. So you might be thriving here today and then wake up tomorrow and hate what you're doing.
For sure.
Or experiencing calamity in a situation and then you have to pivot into something else, and here you are again, knocking on a door, let me in.
For sure.
Looking for that opportunity.
For sure. And I think it's like people think that, when you get to this particular point, that you're like good. Yeah. Right? That never happens. Right? That never happens. The moment that you get to the door that you think you want, there's still obstacles that are going to be in front of you that you still have to overcome. And you got to use those same skill sets and that same experience, that same grounding yourself, right? And, one of the things that I've learned from you is when you are in a particular space, you got to okay, settle yourself, be a big girl, gather yourself by the bootstraps. And you got to come in and be you, right? And so I think you have to do that every day. And no matter the position, the title, the level, it's still something that you have to do. You just have to do it with greater influence at that point, right? So it's something that you continuously have to do.
Mm-hmm. So give us one word that would describe your journey today take a quick second and reflect, play the movie on like the steps it took to get you where you are today, and what is that one word that you would use to describe that experience, that journey, and where you are today?
Oh, this is hard. This is a good question, though. I would say surprise and delight. And when I look back at my journey, I never thought that I would be in this seat now. And just the opportunities that I've had, the rooms that I've been in, the doors that have been open, the seat that I'm sitting in, even literally right now, it's been a surprise and delight. And I never thought that I would experience it. And even the things that are to come, they literally, it blows my mind. And it's not something, people are like, oh my gosh, like, well, how did you get, I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. And it's because a lot of the things that I've asked for, God has blown my mind. And he's literally continued to show me, like, you don't even know what I have in store for you. And even this year, I've just in the last 45 days, I've been to the White House. I've met Martin Luther King III and his family. I've been here at Super Bowl week, sitting here at the seat, and every single time I'm like, I didn't even know that was going to happen, So it's been surprise and delight.
Mm-hmm. So if you could craft your own job description, what would this job look like?
So I have a clarifying question.
Yes.
Am I giving you job description? Am I giving you job title?
So the title is irrelevant because the description is going to dictate the work that's going to be done.
Okay.
So in your ideal world, this is the work that is a part of this title.
For sure. So I definitely want to use my influence to help other women be elevated. So having the opportunity to do that is going to be extremely important to me. To elevate and progress fans and their love for the game is the second one. And the reason why I said game, because it's very vague, because it could be whatever that sport is. Thirdly, I want people to, especially youth, to be involved in sports because the skill sets that they learn from a leadership perspective and how that's helped me. And it wasn't necessarily like, oh, you're going to be a professional, but being able to use sports as a catalyst to be able to have leadership skills is going to be extremely important.
Yeah.
And then I would say lastly, I want to elevate that game. So I think that there's so many different nuances of the game that aren't mentioned. So whether that be because of the salary cap circumvention or whether that is the community assets or the corporate partnerships assets, being able to elevate all the aspects of the game to make it even greater is the goal.
Okay. So does this job description have a title?
Yes.
What is the title?
Commissioner.
Okay, now.
Commissioner. You heard it first. Write it down. Hit record. You heard it here first.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay.
That's the goal.
I
if
love
you know
it.
somebody, let me know.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
So in this portion of the conversation, it is presenting you the opportunity to give another woman her verbal flowers, and it's I'm bringing her to the table with me.
Yeah.
Who is Lauren Clayborne bringing to the table that without a shadow of a doubt, you would not be where you are in your career without her fingerprint on your life?
There's so many. I can only name one.
Lauren, you can't name 10 and 5 now.
I will name, honestly, my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandmother, and just to give you just the kind of her thoughts about me for my entire life, during the month of June, we were so busy, because of the championship and parade, humble flex. And I called her and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I haven't talked to you in a while. And she was like, yeah. She was like, I heard your team won the championship. And I was like, yeah, And she was like, yeah, that light-skinned good guy, I heard he was on your team. I said, yes.
Not the light-skinned one.
That light-skinned good guy is on my team. And she's always thought that about me. And, she's like, Lauren, I've seen you on stages. I've seen you impact so many people. She was like, people have always been drawn to you. And it doesn't even matter on my best and worst days. She's always been that consistent voice that has always told me that I'm greater than I am. The greater than I thought I was.
Yes.
So I would definitely say her. She has been instrumental. The nuggets that she shares, and not only the nuggets that she shares, but who she's thought that I've been even since, she knew me coming out the womb. She has been a huge influence to me.
So is there anything in our conversation today that we have not touched on that you would like to share?
I would love to know. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is that fair? What does this platform mean to you? And why is it so important?
Well, so one, I recognize the need to encourage, to uplift, to inspire women, because oftentimes we are the pourers and we're doing the inspiring and the encouraging, and we don't even recognize when we've reached the point of depletion. By the time we recognize it, it's too late.
Yeah.
And so this platform, the In Her Words platform, is really a space where the encouragement is sharing the mic and providing the opportunity for women to talk about what they're doing, to toot their horn, to celebrate their accomplishments, because it's important for us to recognize our wins so that we're not looking for validation from other people to give it to us. And in the world of sports, because the narrative is so one-sided on what women aren't able to do, what the doors and the access that is not being opened, that I wanted to be able to present a platform where women in sports who are literally the whole wide world of sports, that the sports aren't the same without these women.
For sure.
And so that's the purpose of this platform.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think it's so important because so many times you see the men in our domains being elevated, and it's like you have no idea that it's that woman behind the scenes that's literally making the movements happen. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing this with me.
Yeah, listen, you know what I got, you got.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Always.
So where can people find you?
I'm on all the social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, Lauren Clayborne, I'm so grateful you came to stay a while with me today at the In Her Words table, and you know you're welcome anytime.
Thank you. Is food going to be provided next time? I'm just Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.